Hi, for my book talk, I decided to talk about a story or a book called The Dreamer. It's by Pam Munoz Ryan and Peter Sitz. It's a story about a family that lives in Chile. The main character of the book is this boy named Neftali. He starts the book out as about 7 or 8 years old, and he has been sick for a little while, and he's trying to get better, but instead of resting, he ends up staring out the window daydreaming all day, something that drives his father up the wall. Uh, he has an older brother named Rodolfo and a younger sister named Lorita. His mother died shortly after he was born, and his dad had remarried Mamadre, and she does a great job taking care of the family. The dad is a man that works on the railroad, and he tends to be gone for days and possibly weeks at a time. Neftali doesn't have very many friends and has a bit of a stuttering problem. He loves to collect things he finds on the ground and is constantly daydreaming of the story behind the treasures. Rodolfo plays sports and he actually loves to sing, but the daydreaming part and the singing really doesn't sit well with their father. The father wants them to become educated and be strong men and become doctors and dentists so they don't have to work hard like he does on the railroad. One of the parts of the story that really hit home for me was when Neftali got the chance to go out into the forest and work on the railroad with his father. So he just turned 8 years old and went out to the railroad with his dad, and he got to play in the forest while the men worked. This is the end of the story, or the end of that excerpt, when Neftali has come back to his father and the other men, and so I'm going to read you a little bit about how Neftali felt. When he arrived at the locomotive, father and the workers stood together, talking. Slowly Neftali approached, balancing all of his treasures. The man began to chuckle. Neftali looked down at himself. His front pockets bulged. Sticks sprouted from his back pockets along with trailing vines. Small feathers and dried leaves that had stuck in his hair fell to the ground. The pine cone lay cradled in one hand and the squirming caterpillar in the other. Now the men laughed louder at the spectacle. Neftali saw father's cheeks pink with embarrassment. He sucked in his breath, overwhelmed with the idea that he had drawn attention to himself. Had he been a fanatic, how would father react to this shame? Quickly he set the pine cone and the caterpillar on a nearby rock and removed the contents of his front pockets. Bird eggs, waxy leaves, the tip of a fox's tail. He pulled the sticks and vines from his back pockets and tossed them aside. He reached up and tousled his hair. Dust the druff rained over him. The men howled with laughter. Father's face tightened and turned to stone. Enough nonsense. Everyone to the train. It is time to go. He returned and marched away. Neftali couldn't bear to leave the pine cone behind. He snatched it up, tucked it under his sweater, and climbed aboard. In his seat, he huddled as close as possible to the window. And this is a little picture of what Neftali may have looked like as the men laughed at him. The story is really a struggle between doing what you want to do and doing what your family wants you to do. And the rest of the book follows Neftali up to college, and you can see what path he chooses by reading the story. Thanks for listening, and have a great day.